Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Taste with the Intrepid Wino. My name is James Scaresbrook and I am very excited to have my first submitted wines from a winery, from a wine producer that was sent to me, who got in contact through my website, which is awesome. So if you would like to see your wines tasted on Let's Taste by myself, please do go to intrepidwino.com and you can find my contact details if you'd like to submit some samples. I'm always happy to try some stuff, particularly wines like the Delinquente wine. So Congreg, thank you for getting in contact with me and for your interest in seeing my impressions of your new release wines from 2015. Possibly part of the reason why Congreg got in contact with me was because I have featured a couple of producers both here on Let's Taste and also on the Vincast podcast who buy fruit from this particular vineyard in the Riverland region. So Uni Cosello, Brash Higgins, Brad Weir, I don't think I'm missing anyone else. There's some other people I'd like to get in touch with as well. But the Ricaterra Farms vineyard in Riverland is dedicated to sustainable viticulture in a warmish climate in the Riverland. And part of what's exciting about what's happening there is that they're trialling lots of different alternative grape varieties, which for anyone who knows me knows that I love alternative varieties. Particularly Italian varieties. I don't make much of a secret of it really. So I was really excited to receive these wines that have some pretty cool labels. Very, very different. They really stand out. And from what I've heard, I actually haven't tried any of the Delinquente wines before, but from what I've heard, the wines are pretty snazzy based on their distributor, for example, up in Sydney. So we are going to be tasting 4 wines from the 2015 vintage from the Riverland made by Delinquente. Starting off with Screaming Betty Vermentino. Vermentino is a variety you find usually on the coastline, sort of in Sardinia, Corsica. You find it on the Tuscan coast, you find it on the Ligurian coast, you find it also in Provence, where it's called Rolle. So it really, in Europe, it's more of a sort of a maritime variety and is quite known for its salinity and its texture. So I'm interested to see how the Delinquente guys have expressed the Vermentino and the Screaming Betty, so let's have a look at it. I might just grab a spittoon. Sorry, I should have been better prepared. Okay, so it's quite light. You know, it's very pale colour. It's got even some flicks of a very, very yellowy green kind of colour. It's quite aromatic. It's more in that kind of orchard fruit character, in like pear. Some green apple, some nashi as well. Even a little bit of kiwi fruit, which is interesting. Yeah, it's got quite a pleasant nose. Let's taste. Very consistent as far as the fruit. And stone fruit comes through, that orchard fruit, or so I call it. Orchard fruit, apples, pears, nashi, definitely comes through. It has a little bit of weight. It has a little bit of texture. It has some fruit, nice fruit ripeness in the mid palate. It has a little bit of a pithiness to it as well. It's very clean and fresh. It's not like your classic Australian varieties. It's not like Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Riesling, that kind of thing. That's quite nice. I really enjoy that. It's very, it's very appley. Nice, ripe, kind of slightly oxidized apples. It doesn't sort of really have much salinity to it, which is one of the things that I love in Valentino, particularly from Italy. But I think it's a really excellent expression for the variety in that particular area. So let's crack on. So the next wine is a rosé, obviously. It is made from Nero d'Avola. This is the Pretty Boy, 2015. Nero d'Avola is a grape variety from Sicily. It's a grape variety that you find planted all over Sicily, and the island of Sicily is actually quite diverse as far as the terrain, as far as the microclimates. You know, there are some higher elevations, sort of inland, and then you've got some different kind of soil compositions and different aspects. You know, Agrigento, that kind of area is quite flat and south facing, so ripeness is no issue there. But then you head down to Vittoria, where often it's blended with frappato, and they're quite lithe and sinewy kind of expressions of Nero d'Avola. But it's a very, very malleable variety. It really does adapt beautifully to its environment and actually can express the terroir a lot better. I kind of think of Nero d'Avola as as the Syrah of Sicily in a way. Not like in character, but as far as that you can plant it in lots of different places. So and it expresses itself differently. So there's no real kind of style for Nero d'Avola as far as red wines, but typically with rosé wines, you are getting nice and light and fresh, more sort of strawberry characters. So again, being malleable, it's ideal for rosé as well as for red wine. Just fairly light in colour, nice kind of pinky hue, but not like really obvious. Yeah, it sort of has that strawberry, cherry, nice ripe raspberry note. A very, very subtle kind of creaminess to it. It does have some nice ripe fruit notes on the nose, which is obviously important because it makes it lovely and inviting. Let's taste. So again, the ripeness comes through. Lovely, bright, sweet red fruits on the palate with a dry finish. It's got a nice kind of creamy texture to it, and it's a really this is what I kind of think of as very dangerous wine, because it's gluggable. In warm weather, you get a wine like this, which has got that nice sort of fruit sweetness, which makes it taste beautiful, and just makes you, want to drink it quicker. And you serve it chilled, so that's very refreshing, particularly in warm weather. So you can easily go through a bottle like this very quickly. But what's this coming in at? 12% alcohol. That's not that high, but man, you could go through quite a few bottles of this one. But no, that's a lovely rosé. It's got a lot of people are going to really enjoy that kind of rosé. Looking good. Let's move on. Next wine is the Roxane the Razor. It is a blend of Nero d'Avola, like the rosé, and Montepulciano, which is quite an interesting combination, because Nero d'Avola, as I mentioned, is a Sicilian red variety, and Montepulciano, on the other hand, is a red variety that typically is grown in the Marche region, particularly in the south, and the Abruzzo region, and you also find it quite a lot in Umbria as well. Montepulciano I'm not sure if anyone's actually said this, it's possible, but I kind of think of it a little bit as like the poor man's Sangiovese, because Montepulciano is another one of those very malleable red varieties from Italy that can be planted in a lot of different ways, adapts beautifully, but you can get quite different expressions depending on where it is. But you can also manipulate it, and you can have very light, very kind of crunchy, almost peppery sort of styles that may not have any oak, or you can have some really ripe, dark, oaky styles, like some of the Riserva wines from Abruzzo. So what's interesting about this is we are combining the malleable red of Sicily and the malleable red of the what I think of as the kind of the poorer coast of Italy, in Marche and Abruzzo. So this is going to be interesting. I'm keen to see what it's like. So very classic kind of color. It looks like an Italian red variety, Italian red varietal red wine should look. Interesting, very interesting. It has the fruit there. It has some sort of nice, savoury, dark cherry notes. It's got some sort of slightly unripe plums in there. It's got some blueberries. No, I'll check the blackberries. But it also has some interesting kind of savoury spice and meat notes as well. It's a little bit shy. Doesn't want to come out. Let's taste. This is more on that savoury spectrum. The fruit's there. It's ripe but not kind of overt. It's not fruit sweet at all. And it has kind of a slightly raw finish to it, which is quite interesting. Yeah, the kind of cured meats are coming through a little bit here. It's got a little bit of an earthiness to it. This is a really interesting expression. It's interesting to sort of see the interplay between the Nero d'Avola and the Montepulciano. I think this one probably takes a little bit more time to think about. This probably, the first two are lovely on their own. They're lovely, easy drinking, very fresh, great fruit, good dry wines. This one needs food. So, final wine is the Bullet Dodger Montepulciano. So, let's see how the Montepulciano on its own compares to the Nero d'Avola and Montepulciano together. It's a lot. This is darker in colour. It's a more an inky colour. It's not black, but it's definitely darker than the previous one. It's much more exuberant on the nose as well. This is what I was talking about before about Montepulciano. This kind of has that sort of spicy note, sort of Asian spices as well, even some curry powder. But more in the darker fruits as well, blacker fruits. Let's taste. Well, I'm happy to say that I got the order right. This is a bolder expression, darker fruit, more sort of fruit present on the front palate. And this has got less of that kind of savoury meat character coming through. But it has that overlying kind of slight green peppery, Asian spices, sort of herbal savoury note rather than a meat savoury note. This is definitely the winner for me. I think the Bullet Dodger is just absolute textbook expression for Montepulciano for me. I think there'd be a lot of Italian producers who'd be very happy to get a Montepulciano expressing like that. I think the Nero d'Avola and Montepulciano, the Roxanne the Razor, is a very interesting expression. It's definitely going to get a lot of conversation. The Rosé is a dead set winner. A lot of people are going to just absolutely smash that over the summer, I'm sure. And the Valentino, it's an authentic Australian expression for Valentino for me. But there you go, guys. Those are my impressions of the 2015 Delinquente wines that were sent to me by the winery. Thank you very much again. It was great to taste them. If you like this video, please leave me a like, and if you want to subscribe to the Intrepid Wino channel, you can press that subscribe button, and you can keep up to date with all of my Let's Taste videos, including some of the Let's Taste live episodes I've got coming up very soon. 28th of September will be the Let's Taste Australian Riesling with a special, hopefully sommelier guest, which will be fantastic. You can buy the wines at differentdrop.com/Intrepid Wino. Yeah, until next time, guys, cheers.